What's going on, guys? Elite AF Fishing here. I know this sounds kind of funny, you know me as beach bomber fishing, but here at Elite AF Fishing, we're gonna solely focus on fishing with lures, how to rig lures, jetty fishing, surf fishing, any kind of lure fishing, we're gonna do it on this channel, all right? So one of the biggest questions that I get asked most of the time is, how do I rig for jetty fishing? So in this video, I'm gonna show you what line, leader, lures, and the setups I like to use to be more successful jetty fishing. I do want to mention out that I do use bait caster and spinning a lot. I have absolutely zero preference which I like to use. I can use bait cast and I can use spinning. Absolutely zero difference. Most of the time it's out of preference, but I would like to say is if I'm chucking lighter lures, I do go along with spinning more, and I'm doing big heavy lures and I will stick to bait casting. Mainly because if you're out bait casting and the wind is at your face, sometimes we like to fish those conditions where the weather's really rough and it's just blowing hard in your face, you are less likely to get a bird's nest with a spinning reel than a bait caster. So I have no preference. If you like to use spinning, awesome, bait caster, whatever. There's absolutely zero difference. One doesn't make you any better than the other, all right? All right, guys, so the next question, a lot of people that always ask me what kind of braid or line I'm using, every single time it's gonna be 50-pound braid. Check it out. The reason I like to use 50-pound braid, I feel like it's an all-around poundage that's perfect for everything, whether you're surf fishing, jetty fishing, fishing off a boat. I think 50 pounds stops almost anything inshore unless you're going up against some huge fish like giant 7-foot tarpon off the jetty or from the boat or the beach, whatever. But I think 50-pound is great for almost anything. Now, black. Why do I have black braid on here? The reason I have that is because I'm a very boring and bland person. Everything that I use is black. I have no color in my life, so I'm pretty boring. So I like to use black on all my setups. I mean, really, that's just what it is. I mean, it's just, I like the color black, and you know, we all have our color preference here. Check it out, this is black too. And on my other bait casters, it's all black. Zero color in my life, but whatever color you want to use, chartreuse, pink, you want to match your thong, it's perfect, it's gonna work. Here in the Gulf, it doesn't really matter because the water is almost always dirty. Right now the water is green and clean. Most of the time it doesn't clean up enough for the fish to care, honestly. So whatever color, black, brown, whatever you want to use, it's gonna work. Now, I know another thing that you'll see a lot of elitists, they'll say, well, I can catch big jacks and huge tarpon with 30-pound braid. Well, that is fucking amazing. I congratulate you, that's really good. I've caught giant jacks from the pier on bait casters with 20-pound line. I got 20-pound line, so I can't put much drag on them. Whew.
Give me a hand. This thing is heavy.
That one's bigger than the other one. Yeah. A lot bigger.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
So most of the time people are using 30 or 50. Nobody uses 40 because 40 is such a weird like in between. Like I've never heard anybody say, oh, I use 40-pound braid. I've never done it. I've never heard anybody say it, so I stick to 50. So 50-pound, great all around, no matter what color, you're gonna catch fish. All right, guys, the next question. What leader material do you like to use and what pound, fluoro or mono? Simple question to answer. Depends on how deep your pockets are, all right? You can catch as many fish as you want with leader material that's monofilament, or you can be elite and just spend money on buying Seaguar and other fluorocarbons just because, you know, the brand name. I'm not saying that Seaguar is bad. Seaguar is outstanding fluorocarbon. It definitely has its uses. Out of all the fluorocarbon, I prefer using Seaguar, but most of the time, I will stick to monofilament leader. You know, I feel like in the upper Texas coast or anywhere you're at, I feel like mono is more than enough. The main difference between monofilaments and fluorocarbon is really how much it's gonna affect your bank account, because you can get this for $10. You get this for $80. Wait, this is a 30-pound. So yeah, this is not what I'm, hold on, give me a sec, guys. All right, here we go. 80 pounds, check it out. This costs a lot of money. This is like, I feel like this is almost like $2 per like yard. So this is 30 yards here. Yeah, $60. This is what this is gonna cost you. A yard is $2 per yard when you buy quality fluorocarbon, but really it doesn't matter. Now, when it comes to the poundage of your mono or your leader, I always stick to 80 pounds. The reason I like to use 80 pounds is because there's gonna be a lot of abrasive rocks at the bottom of the jetty. You wanna make sure that you can land those fish and that your line is strong enough to slightly rub on those rocks, because if it's not strong enough to rub, you're gonna break off immediately. You can sit here and fight these fish for 20 minutes, get them nice and tired, but when it comes down to the wire, as soon as they dive down at the edge of the jetty, those rocks touch your leader with those barnacles and all that other junk that's down there, you're gonna cut off. And your efforts are made in vain. So, use 80 pound. This is 100 pound. I was using these at the jetty last season when I was tarpon fishing. Hey, it worked. It definitely worked because this was not getting cut off by their extremely sharp gill plate. So check it out. But I do want to say one of the other differences besides the price in mono and fluoro is that fluorocarbon does slip. It slips, especially when you're tying a knot and you don't wet the knot to tighten it. It's definitely gonna slip, and you're not gonna tighten that knot perfectly enough that it's not gonna slip. But fluorocarbon slips. Ask all the greats that fish. Fluorocarbon slips, but it will slip throughout a prolonged fight. It's gonna slowly slip, especially when you're using 20, 25 pounds of drag on big fish like this one here, this giant tarpon that spooled my line. 40 seconds to a minute of straight pulling drag for a minute of 25 pounds. It will slip. Luckily, I wasn't using 100 pound fluorocarbon, I was using 100 pound mono, or else it would have slipped on me. So most of the time, 80 pounds, 100 pounds is perfect for big monster pelagic fish from the jetty, or 80 pounds when you're fishing for jacks and bull reds. That's what I like to use, that's what I recommend, so you don't lose fish. Most of the time, I'm using 5 feet leader. The reason why is because once those fish start to take a dive, you want to have enough leader to cover the braid that you're using. So when you have a longer leader, that's going to give you more of a wide area to be rubbing on those rocks. If you use a short leader, you're going to get cut off. I've seen people use 2 foot, 3 foot leaders. They got the fish right on the surface. The fish dives a foot, boom. You just lost the fish. Using a 5 foot leader really protects and gives you that insurance to not get cut off by the rocks, especially when you're fishing surfside. Surfside has to be the worst jetty to fish. It's the most accessible, but man, that jetty is trash when it comes to fishing and landing fish because there's so many rocks and boulders at the bottom that you just never know. You're only gonna know if the water is green and clean on a low tide. Then you can really see how much shit is down there. There's so many rocks. It's important to use long leader. 80 pounds, 60 to 80 pounds, 5 feet, perfect for most any inshore species in Texas. As for rods and reels, I like to take an 8,000 size, a 6,000 size, and sometimes I'll take 2 or 3 bait casters with me. But I'm just gonna give you a basic overview of what I like to use. So here I have an Okuma Tesoro 8000. This holds about like 300 yards of 50 pound braid. And particularly here, this reel here is more than enough to land almost any inshore fish, especially with the 50 pound braid and the drag. I got this head to about 17 pounds to drag, and I've never had anything spool me or come close to spool me here. I had a 6 foot tarpon that I fought for about 5 minutes down there in South Powder Island. I couldn't land it by myself, so I had to, break off at the tip of the jetty here. But this is the Komodo that I landed that with. It was at night, so I couldn't get good video of it. This is a Tesoro 8000. The rod here I have, this is an Okuma 8.3 Hawaiian custom popping rod here. This is a really good rod. Let me show you why. All right, so it's really hard to find a good off-the-shelf jetty rod here. So this Okuma Hawaiian popping rod, it's 8.3 and it has all the good components that one could use for jetty fishing here. And I like this because this has a lot of power. This is rated, I think 3 to 5 ounces, yeah. 50 to 100 pound braid. You can really horse crank a fish with this. It has really good cork on here. Check it out. You see split grip here. Fuji reel seat, all Fuji guides. These are actually oversized guides too. I don't know if you can see how big they are here. And this is so you can have a knot run through these without messing them up or hearing that nasty sound that you would hear when you cast out a knot. Preferably, you don't want to cast out knots, but if you have to, this has the guides for it here. Like I said here, I've already caught a nice bull red, and I almost landed a 5 to 6 foot tarpon on this setup right here, and it was elite. Really sick. Here I have a very general setup. You can catch basically anything with this. You can cast out whatever you want. This is an Okuma Tesoro 6000 with 50-pound black braid here. This has a ton of drag. I don't remember exactly how much, but this rod here and this reel here can stop almost anything in the inshore coast. If you start catching stuff over the 5 feet, then yeah, you're probably it's gonna be very sporty. But for anything under 5 feet on lures, this is gonna be perfect. Okuma Solaris, check it out, guys. This is a really good budget surf rod here. This is the 9-foot version of it, rated 1 to 4 ounces. I mean, you can catch anything with this, honestly. I've caught big bull reds, jacks, absolutely zero problem. And I think this rod here is like $100, I think. Great budget setup here. And now, as for bait cast, I really enjoy the Okuma Komodos. These are powerhouses. This here has 50-pound braid, or like a little over 300 yards. And I've been able to catch some giant fish with this bait caster here. I've caught huge jacks, bull reds, kingfish. I never hooked a tarpon with this. I have nothing but good things to say about the Komodo here. And I think what makes this really unique is the fact that it has a clicker right there. If you wanted to double duty this to soak baits, you have a clicker for it. If you're making videos and you want to hear some drag peeling, you just flip the clicker on. It sounds amazing. I love this setup. If they ever update this reel, I hope they never get rid of the clicking setup here. This clicker is amazing. It makes this real unique. Now, another thing about this is that I've also changed the bearings on this Komodo, and I've also changed the handle to a Gomex's carbon fiber handle, just for the aesthetics. Really doesn't really make a difference. It just looks more, I guess, custom. And then here I got a 9-foot Rainshadow here. You can get these at the Houston Fishing Show. I got mine at the Houston Fishing Show, all my Rainshadows. And you can also get them at Roy's Bait and Tackle here. They sell a lot of Rainshadow blanks. They even have pre-made Rainshadows, I think. They have like a lot of surf rods that are Rainshadow wise. But if you want to make your custom rod, Rainshadow, Batson, then you can get that at the Houston Fishing Show, or you can order them from Roy's. But here it is, check it out. I know you got this crazy glide bait here. It's totally overkill. I've never actually caught anything with it, but I do want to start glide baiting in salt water to see what would happen. Check it out. This is a 6-ounce glide bait here. As for lures, I'm going to be honest with you. Most of the time, I'm going to be using spoons. Check it out. So I have I got this bag here just loaded with lures. I like to waste money on buying all kinds of lures, but for the most part, I do enjoy using spoons most of the time. I make my own spoons. Check it out, guys. So if you want to guaranteed catch fish most of the time, you can just use spoons. So I got spoons of every color. I got green here. This is a very underrated color. This green here, I don't see anybody using it. I'm the only one that I've seen used. I mean, I like the reflection on it. Look how shiny it is. That green right there, that green tape right there really attracts fish, especially when it's really sunny. I've hooked and landed a lot of jacks with this color here. I sell all these spoons on my Elite AF Big Cartel website, pre-made, with all the components changed, because when you buy these spoons, they come with cheap stuff on it. But see, we got silver here for nice, clean days, sunny skies, perfect. And then gold seems to almost always work. But sometimes they don't always want gold. Look how shiny that is. They'll take silver. And I got other ones here, a red. This, I've caught a few reds with the red, ironically. This is a good color here. Look how shiny that is. Super reflective. Now, of course, you know, the lures are gonna be dependent on what you're fishing for in the watercolor here. If you're fishing for kingfish, which doesn't happen very often in Texas, but when it does, you better be ready. I use Rapala X shafts, all the 14. I like the white and red. I like the olive and the pinfish. More pinfish, olive, and then blue. These are my favorite colors to use when I'm fishing for kingfish. Size 14, rip them in, boom, guaranteed kingfish are gonna hit it. especially if the conditions are right. Check it out. But I got these rigged already with a 48-pound steel leader on here. It's like 3 feet of it. Now, as for soft plastics, I use a variety of soft plastics here. Here I got a bunch of R&R slide baits. I like these right here. Check it out. These have really good colors, outstanding action, and if you hook a fish that jumps out of the water, you're not gonna spit the hook. So here's a 6-inch R&R slide bait here. Great color for when the water is stained. Gets a lot of attention right here. Since the water is almost always stained in Texas, I've done really good with this R&R here, this color here. A bunch of bull reds, check it out. When the water's dirty, or when you're fishing in the morning or in the evening at sundown, sunrise, when it's a little darker, this color gets hit a lot. I love this purple color here. I also got hoagies here. I got smaller hoagies, 1 ounce, 3/4 of an ounce. Hoagies work really good. I mean, depending on what you're fishing for, of course, it's always depending on what you're fishing for. Most fish inshore will hit the hoagies. And I got here a lot of NLBNs. Check it out. Different size, colors. The black for night. You can't go wrong with Hell Yeah butter. Hell Yeah butter gets hit a lot. I love Hell Yeah butter. I have like 30 packs of Hell Yeah butters at home because I feel like those work the best. And I also got purple, but for the most part, Hell Yeah butter is gonna be my favorite NLBN color in the 3 ounce or the 1 ounce. All right, here in this box here, I got some hoagies that are pre-made. Oh, people getting mad when I show these on camera. They think they're a big secret. Check it out. These are illegal in Florida, I believe. All right, guys, so that's it for this jetty fishing video. I know it's kind of funny that I'm making a jetty video out at the beach, but I'm here because it's a lot more quiet, more peaceful. There isn't a lot of people. So, but I really hope you enjoyed this video. This is generally just a general idea of how you can rig up for jetty fishing, the leaders, the lines, the lures, the combo. You don't have to get these exact setups, just you can form a general idea of what to use. I do suggest following the braid idea, the 50-pound braid, the leaders. Besides that, as you get along in your jetty fishing adventures, you're gonna find out what works best for you. You know, there's no right or wrong answer. It's all trial and error. If you want to use 40-pound braid, 65-pound braid, if that works for you, perfect. I prefer 50, but if you like 65 pounds, that's great. If that works for you and that's helping you catch more fish, then stick to that. If you're using 100-pound fluorocarbon or 50-pound fluorocarbon, great. But I like to use the 80 pounds, but if anything works better for you, then just stick to that, all right? So if it's working, why change it if it ain't broken? But anyways, I really hope you enjoyed this video. This is Elite AF Fishing channel, separate from Beach Bomber Fishing. Elite AF Fishing focuses on being Elite AF fishing with lures and rigging for lures 100% of the time. Elite AF Fishing is gonna be just for lures. Beach Bomber Fishing is bait fishing, all right? So if you have any ideas, if you have any other suggestions or any tips you'd like me to use or you'd like to see mentioned, or you feel like your ideas work better, let me know in the comments and we'll look at them and sort it out and answer the questions or even use your suggestions, all right? Thanks for watching, guys.